uh, I'm really very proud of my daughters. They're very independent, and they seem to have no problem having their own perspective, at least in relationship with me. And there's this independence they have um, that seem to be supported in such a way that was very different from my independence and the support I received as an independent individual. Now, this is just my personal experience, and there's all kinds of different perspectives. Uh, but this independence, this individuality, I'm very, very proud of. And I feel that it came with a price. And that price is that they do not have a relatedness with me as a result. And I only have a few comparisons. You know, I try to compare and contrast and look at my other relationships in my life and say, you know, what is the right thing? And the only reason I'm bringing this up is that, you know, they adorn the chambers of my heart. And it's very near to my center. However, it's a changing image. It's not one fixed, set fast image. And the relationship I think best to use, though it also clouds the view as well, is my relationship with my parents. My parents are involved in my children on a daily basis. They always have been. As well as in my life. And my relationship with my parents is very similar to my sisters, their other children's relationship with them. It's much more detached. And I think this created an independence, this detachment. And I may have duplicated that in my own way. However, my parents changed as grandparents. They were no longer parents. They behaved as grandparents. Though I understand, you know, I don't, when it comes to relationships and grandparents and parents and great-grandparents and, you know, the levels of relatedness and the roles and the behavior, all appropriate or inappropriate, those things can get very cloudy. And to me, I just boil it down to, well, are you there for each other? And I don't mean in body, I mean in times of need. Are you there when you're needed? And do you do what is necessary? Or do you do what you want? That's what I mean. Because at a deeper level, you know, anybody could be my brother or my sister if they're there for me in my time of need to give what is needed, not what they want to give. And my parents were there for my children in ways they were not able to be there for their own children. And this may be difficult for them to hear, and it could just be that it's because they were grandparents and not parents. However, I was there, and I know the price that I was asked to pay for their relatedness to go to a deeper level. A level that was necessary, and that they were there able to provide, though it didn't come naturally to them. And they still, it brings me back to this idea of justice. I really don't think there is justice in the world. I I feel that humanity, the human being, brings their brand of justice to the world. So what we think is right and wrong based on what we value and devalue uh, determines our brand of justice. And our values stem from our feelings. And our feelings are often informed by our experience. So we can have a feeling, and that's what it is in its true form. But our experience we've had in the past, hindsight, that kind of thing, clouds or transforms the feeling. So I can see a pretty lady, and I can say, boy, I really want to relate to her on a long-term basis. But my past experience can say, well, maybe not. Or, oh, that's like this. Or, so I think you get what I mean. Experience can change the natural, true form. And I do feel that there was a price that I was demanded to pay for my mother and father to relate on a deeper level to offspring than they had ever experienced. And I do genuinely feel that my mother and father have a deeper relationship of relatedness, a deeper relatedness with my children than they were capable of having with their own children. And some can still say that it's because they became grandparents. Not in my experience. I've seen plenty of grandparents, my own, for example, who were quite incapable of having a deeper relationship with their grandchildren. Though they tried, in their late 70s, mid 70s. My parents were younger. There's just so many influences, and I could analyze the life right out of it. And I don't want to skim over the fact that we all have to pay our prices. We all have to learn our lessons, myself included, and that we may have feelings of pleasure or pain in relationship to learning of these lessons. I'm reminded of a mythological motif called stealing the fire theft. And the fire, metaphorically speaking, is the spirit that informs life, that brings that spark of life. I came in contact with that spark of life when I was paralyzed, and I had a choice. Do I walk or do I crawl? And I willed myself to walk through the pain. And that pain changed me. That pain changed me.